Good morning and welcome back to Searching for Political Identity. This is one of those highly sought after morning shows. So lucky you for being here. No, thank you so much for being here. In fact, I'm going to ask you to like this and share it wherever you're watching. Helps with the algorithm. I'm trying to be more professional in my promotion of my podcast. So thank you very much for that. What am I doing with this podcast? What is this podcast? 3 years ago, I was in my last year of law school, the first semester of my last year of law school. At that point, Joe Biden was already president. I had already voted for him. We were coming out of the pandemic, but we were all still wearing masks. And at that point, I was at, like I said, the tail end of my law school career. I entered into law school during the Trump era. The pandemic hit. Law school itself was a game changer for me. And then I studied critical race theory in my final year. So if you put that all in the blender, including the public's reaction to Donald Trump, yeah, I started questioning the narratives that I had and wondering if I should continue voting for Democrats like I always have. So I started this podcast with the goal being to connect with thought leaders from diverse backgrounds and figure out exactly that. Am I a Democrat? Now, interestingly, in 2012, for some reason, I registered as an independent. Even though I voted for Obama, Hillary, and Joe, for some reason, I just felt like saying, I don't belong to this group called Democrats. I don't like being in a group. So, am I an independent? Well, not by record, but technically, yeah. So, why am I searching for political identity? Well, I kind of laid them out already. It was a crazy time, the Trump experience, the pandemic. And then here's the other piece, though. And so I would call that the personal side. Like, hey, Brian Escow was going through some things, is still going through some things, and is trying to work it all out. But the other piece here is that Joe Biden, and I really don't mean this to be disrespectful, and I can actually give him many compliments, but he's not that Obama like figure, nor is he even like a Hillary figure in the sense that Hillary gives off an air of competence despite being not very likable or warm. So Joe Biden was the first person that I voted for that I really didn't vote for. It was really a vote against Trump. So when you add in all the things that I just mentioned that caused me to question my political identity, the fact that Joe Biden is not really a very strong candidate, well, yeah, that explains why I'm tempted to vote for Kennedy. Now, will I come home to Biden? That's the big thing. When I started the podcast 3 years ago in that final year of law school, and I found myself needing to get on social media to promote it. I was never on social media, even though I'm a big mouth, big personality. I was so shy, so depressed for so many years. I just stayed off social media. But pardon me, I'm going to take a sip. But I had to get on to promote this thing. And when I got on, that added another layer of, oh my gosh, what do I believe? And this is where we could start talking about misinformation and information on X. And all I can really say at the moment, because by the way, I have a day job to get to and I'm kind of late, so I'm going to make this brief. But I get on X and all of a sudden it's like aliens and consciousness and interdimensional beings. And today or yesterday with the eclipse, did you see that? Oh, is it a plane? Is it the shadow of a plane on the clouds? Or is it like, a demon? So, so much to question, so much reality to question. There are all those big accounts, Illuminati bot, Dom Lucre, David Icke. What's real, guys? That's what this is about. And so, have I been radicalized in the few years that I've been on X? Have I been slightly Q-ized? That's a big question. I'm nervous about the answer. But the podcast is fun. It's a intellectual exercise. It's genuine. Oh, and by the way, as I continued to do it, I started to ask myself, hey, could I do this for a living? Could I be a broadcaster? So I'm exploring that now too. It's not about the money. It was never about the money. I have a job. Everything's fine. But what I like, let me put it this way. I would like to explore the question, can I make a living doing this? And so I hope it doesn't compromise what I'm doing. I don't think it's in me to compromise what I'm doing. I think I'm the type of person that's just going to do what I do, and if any money comes, cool. Okay. So last night I did the biggest appearance I've ever done. So I should say that I'm the host of a podcast. People come to me and I ask them questions because I don't know anything. But lately, I have been getting asked to be a guest on shows. And so last night I did Larry Sharp's Monday night panel show. It was great. Had a great time. The basic theme of the conversation was what is freedom. So that was great. Go check it out. Thank you, Larry. That was the second time I've ever guessed. The first time was probably 3 weeks before that on, you guys might know Bootleg, the late Bootleg, not a real podcast. He invited his wife, actually, who's directing the podcast. She's so sweet. She reached out to me and said, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Please be a guest on our show." I said, "Okay, you're so nice. I'll do it." And I had a great conversation. My girlfriend said it went really well. She said I came off as charming, and she really liked the host, Bootleg, and Susie, his wife, who's the director and off air, you know, person who pulls things up on the website. She's so cool. So it was obviously very devastating a few days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, when Susie announced that Bootleg had died. So don't know what happened. Don't want to speculate, but I can take a guess. And so I'm just so heartbroken for Susie. I know Bootleg has kids, young kids, and I don't have a whole lot of experience with death. So this one really hit me. I mean, I met the guy, we spoke on video, and then we interacted on X almost every day. I mean, he was witty, he was funny, he was smart, he was sweet. It is a real loss, and I'm still reeling from it. It's just so horrific, so sad. If you're not feeling good, people, get help. Try to get help. Don't don't end your life, okay? Okay. Tonight I am going to the Padres game, to a Padres game. Look at me. My girlfriend, who I love so much, who's sleeping with my dog in the next room. By the way, if you went into the next room, you would see the cutest thing in the world, a 70-pound half pit and pit bull mix with my girlfriend. They're almost the same size. And just cheek to cheek, it's just the most funny thing ever. So sweet. So I'm in such a great place and a great full place. And even though I'm tired and I don't want to go out tonight, my girlfriend has a friend from college coming in. She's showing him a good time. And so I'm going to go do boyfriend duty because I love her so much. And yeah, I mean, that's what this whole effort is about. What is true? What is real? Is God real? Is aliens real? What's the best form of government? And, in time, I'll do longer morning episodes and I'll go into great detail about things I learned in law school. I mean, there's so many awesome things that I can share with you about great conversations I had in the beginning of this podcast. I can go back into the old archives, which you will not find on YouTube, Rumble, or here on my highlights tab in X. You'll only go back to this January when I started doing video at the behest of my girlfriend. But I have a fairly deep archive of episodes that are quite good, and I can tap into that, kind of refer to them in these morning solo live streams. So I think what I'll do in time is commit to a more consistent schedule for this morning live stream, and I'll beef up the programming. I'll have more to say. It'll be a more substantial show. I guess the last thing I'll say is I had an account. So when I first got on X to promote the podcast 3 years ago, it was not on the account that I'm operating in right now. It was an account that was more left leaning. And I got up to 8,000 followers and I was begging. It was so pathetic. I was like, please follow me. Please follow me. It was just like ridiculous. It was gross. And because I was pretty left and pretty desperate, at a certain point, I just decided to nuke it and start over because I just wasn't proud of the way I had acquired the followers. And some days I think, oh, was that a mistake? Probably. I mean, I'm an attention whore trying to promote myself, and I nuked the account that had more followers, and I'm still trying to get up to half of what I had. So maybe that wasn't the smartest thing in the world, but no one ever said I was the smartest person. You don't have to be smart to make money in real estate, and you don't have to be smart to broadcast. Okay, I just made that up. All right. So yeah, I did touch upon this concept of information on X and what's going on in Brazil with Elon right now. And the question of, is there a role for the government? Is it the government's role, especially if they're trying to do things on the back end of these platforms, but is it assuming these are public platforms genuinely, or excuse me, private platforms, is it the government's role to clean the information, to cleanse the information so that I don't get radicalized, so I don't think that the shit in the sky is a freaking demon when it's a shadow of an airplane? Because what if I really believe what Dom Lucre says. So the question then becomes, what's true? Are demons real? Are angels real? Is God real? What's real, man? And I know it sounds kind of scary and dissociated, and like I could be having a breakdown, but I think a lot of our society is kind of at that point where it's like, hey, man, are we drowning in lies? Are we drowning in lies? And if we are, does the government have a duty to protect us from the echo chamber that gets built up around those lies? Because that could be quite dangerous. Or is it not the government's role in the fucking slightest? And that's free speech, baby. All right. So lots to ponder, lots to talk about. No shortage of topics for future episodes. Thank you for being here. On the way out, I guess I'm going to ask you again to like this, share it, tell your friends about it. Thank you. But I guess the last thing I'll say is I had two wonderful guests this past weekend. I got two wonderful guests lined up for this weekend. So great things are happening with the podcast. Really excited about it. And I'm grateful to you, audience, for being here and supporting me. So thank you. Have a great day. And I'll see you later. That's all, folks.